After a month of complete radio silence regarding Selen Tatsuki, Nijisanji has finally broken it earlier today, only to announce that they have terminated Selen effective immediately. Selen is such a beloved lifer, and with her abrupt absence, this notice came as a major shock for her fans and the general community alike. But after this much time and the events of late December, followed by Selen having an accident left her in the hospital, people weren't exactly counting on her coming back anyway, one way or the other. In this video, I want to go over the full timeline of the events leading up to her absence and termination, but also over Nijisanji's 3-page statement and their reasoning for terminating her in the first place. There will be chapters below to help you navigate as much as possible. And I'm gonna be real here, this video will be very different from other times I've discussed graduations and terminations of VTubers, because I genuinely think this particular termination will change people's perspective on Nijisanji and specifically the English branch forever. And I also will think it will be a true pivot point for the English VTubing community overall, for sure. Besides that, the exact nature of the termination and the events surrounding it are also quite shocking, and it hit me quite personally, so please excuse me if I'm being a bit emotional here and there. There's a lot of information to go over, and while I try to go over it as efficiently and delicately as possible, I do want to issue a major content warning for sensitive topics, such as bullying and suicidality. So please, if you're sensitive to those topics, this video might not be for you, but if you are watching because you care about Selen or you care about Nijisanji and you just want the full story, be safe, okay? On top of that, I also normally don't openly talk about corporate VTubers, their past lives and reincarnations, but given Selen has specifically asked to share where to find her on her alt account, and for the sake of this video, I will be openly talking about Selen being Dokibird, and will use those names interchangeably where needed. All links will be in the description if you want to find her. The following is an as accurate as possible timeline of the events directly leading up to her absence. So on Christmas Day last year, Selen announced that she was releasing a cover of the song Last Cup of Coffee as a Christmas surprise for her fans. But less than 24 hours later, she tweets that management has already privated the music video, but she then encourages people to re-upload it because she worked hard on it and she wants people to see it one way or the other. So naturally, speculation started for the reason for this, with the common guess being the depiction of graduated lifers. The same thing was later thought about why Pomo's original song MV had to be partially redone not long after this happened. It was later revealed that the privating had to deal with some permissions that Selen did not have to upload this video, but it was never confirmed which ones. So her encouragement to re-upload the video told fans already that the video wasn't coming back, and the Dokibird account tweeting about losing $15,000 recently, about a half hour later after she posted her original tweet, kind of confirmed the same thing. So on December 28th, 2 days after she announced the video got privated, Selen announces that she had been hospitalized due to an accident and has to remain there for supervision. And on December 31st, she tweets that she has been discharged and is recovering with the help of her parents. This last tweet was her last correspondence under the name Selen Tatsuki, and complete radio silence regarding her as a lifer and that persona started right then and there. There was no further statement from Anycolor about a health-related hiatus, like they did for Vulgar Ovid last year, or a notice of suspension, so speculation started again, with mostly people fearing that she had hurt herself. After an extended period of no communication from Anycolor at all, other Nijisanji lifers not mentioning her, and her distinct absence from Pomo Rainbow's graduation in January, people started to get worried and created a hashtag #WhereIsSelen to put pressure on Anycolor as a company to say anything, because people wanted to know whether she was okay or alive, at the very least. Even her friend RPR and other notable people like her model artist started joining in, which increased the worries among the public. And then we come to today, February 5th, Anycolor posts a termination notice of Selen Tatsuki just before noon Central European time, with the reason given that she had repeated breaches of contract and made misleading statements on social media. This was followed by Dokibird tweeting her own statement confirming the accident from December was indeed an attempt on her life, like many people feared, and explains this was due to bullying from within and a poor and toxic work environment for an extended period of time. She also notes that she had requested to leave on neutral terms, or at least more neutral terms, on January 26th, which is 10 days prior to today's announcement. Dokibird also confirmed that she was surprised by the notice just as much as everyone else, and was lucky to be even awake when it dropped, as it was very early in the morning in her time zone at the time. Despite everything happening, Doki did announce that she will be returning to streaming on February 7th under her Dokibird account, and is grateful grateful for all of the support and love she has received today and in general. So as you can probably tell, there's a lot that happened in the last month and a half. And I do want to note that this is not the complete timeline of things that we publicly know about that could have led to the termination. But I hope I provided enough context for you to understand the 3-page statement that Anycolor made on her termination, which is in and of itself a lot. Like, even Zaion only got a single paper. Even Rero Ron that got terminated for even wilder reasons than Zaion got only a single paper. Granted, it's not the same company, but I just wanted to give the comparison. I want to read through the whole termination notice and give comments as I go. Notification of contract termination with Selen Tatsuki. We sincerely appreciate your ongoing support for Nijisanji and Nijisanji EN. It is a regret that we have to make the difficult decision to terminate our affiliated contract with Nijisanji EN Life as Selen Tatsuki due to multiple breaches of contracts and misleading statements on social media platforms. For transparency, we have provided a detailed explanation of the circumstances and reasons that we have unfortunately led us to make the decision below. Anycolor has established activity rules that our affiliated life has agreed to comply with. These rules are designed to prevent infringement of third-party rights, leakage of confidential information belonging to Anycolor or third parties, damage to the reputation or credibility of third parties, and other acts that may violate rights, engage in illegal activities, or involve socially condemned behaviors. Specifically, the part about damage to reputation or credibility in this activity rules piece is what's going to be important for the rest of the notice, so keep that in mind. As a company, we are confident in order to deliver content for our fans to enjoy in long term and to create an environment where our affiliate lives can safely perform their activities with the support of fans and various stakeholders. It is essential for both our lives and our company to unite and adhere to compliance with the activity rules. And here are the violations from Selen Tatsuki of the activity rules. Despite our efforts to uphold these rules, Selen Tatsuki has repeatedly violated activity rules since joining Nijisanji EN in July 2021. Selen Tatsuki's actions in violation of the activity rules encompass a wide range of issues, such as a non-compliance with rights confirmation and authorization flows, which could potentially lead to infringement of third-party rights, including copyrights. The violations also include unauthorized usage of works and assets belonging to others affiliated with Anycolor, disregarding the intentions of these parties, as well as lack of communication with creators resulting in delays in Selen Tatsuki's commission payments to creators. Furthermore, there have been ongoing reports about inappropriate behavior by Selen Tatsuki throughout her time as a Nijisanji EN lifer. We have been addressing these concerns as these arise. So basically, this comes to the fact that as a Nijisanji EN lifer or an agency VTuber in general, you have to ask permission for basically anything. You have to make sure everything you do is allowed, not just with management or the people that make games or anything, but also with your fellow lifers. This kind of hooks in with the whole music video story where she didn't have the right permissions to upload it, whether it's for the music or the depiction of certain lifers that didn't give the permission, whether on purpose or the fact that graduated lifers cannot give permission anymore, or for anything surrounding copyright, etc. As a company, we recognize that these violations of the activity rules could damage the trust placed in Nijisanji EN, but we are also aware that such violations jeopardize the ongoing activities of other lifers affiliated with Anycolor, which makes sense. If someone damages the overall reputation, that hurts everyone involved, not just them. Furthermore, we have consistently issued warnings to Selen Tatsuki each time there was a violation. However, she has repeatedly disregarded these warnings, often failing to reciprocate communication with her managers, and additionally, Selen has repeatedly posted false or misleading information on social media, insinuating that the violation of the activity rules were due to mismanagement by Anycolor, which checks out because every time something happened, she did point to management directly. Whether that was just or not, she did do that openly. In May 2023, we sent a notice to Selen Tatsuki stating that any further violation of the activity rules or engaging in false or misleading statements that could damage our company's reputation would result in termination of our affiliation contract. However, she has continued to violate the activity rules, which again checks out because she indeed has multiple times pointed towards management to blame them. I don't know if blame is the right word, but as a reasoning, and it has happened multiple times since May 2023, and specifically right before she went on absence. Events leading up to the suspension of Selen Tatsuki's activities. Amidst the aforementioned circumstances on December 26, 2023, which is the tweet she posted about management privating her music video, Selen posted a music video on the Selen Tatsuki YouTube channel without prior approval as required by the activity rules. The materials for the music video were shared for the first time with our management on December 24th, which is only 2 days before. Since some elements in the music video lacked proper authorization, on December 25th we communicated to Selen Tatsuki that permission needed to be obtained from relevant parties, requesting her to wait before releasing it. Despite this, Selen Tatsuki disregarded the notice and proceeded with unauthorized posting. This specific instance seems to be completely her own fault. Like, if you're only submitting a video very late and then people are saying you cannot upload this, you need the further permissions, you don't have them, please wait, and then posting it anyway, of course it's gonna get privated and you're likely not gonna get those permissions as a result of that. So fair is fair. She did that. That was wrong. Our immediate response was to make the music video private until all authorizations were confirmed on our end. At the same time, the reasoning was clearly explained to Selen Tatsuki. However, Selen Tatsuki took to social media, specifically X, making misleading statements that omitted essential context. Notably, management has privated the song. Furthermore, Selen Tatsuki's post includes a statement encouraging third parties to re-upload the music video, which breaches Anycolor's guideline for secondary creation. These actions led to various misunderstandings that damaged the reputation of both Anycolor and Nijisanji. And again, fair enough. That was not smart of her to do, because encouraging people to re-upload something that you're aware of that doesn't have the right permissions, and for the fact that you created it and it's not a fan creation, it also doesn't abide by indeed the secondary creation rules or fan art or whatever that clippers and fan artists can do. This is again a fault on her end, and we all kind of felt, because she was gone so shortly after this happened, that she would likely get terminated or have an amicable graduation. But then there's one specific thing that is in Selen's favor, where Nijisanji is claiming that her statement of management privating the song is false, while they're saying our immediate response was to make the music video private. So they admit that they as a company decided to private the music video. And who else to do that than her manager? So unless it was not specifically management but the company overall, that statement is not false, and I don't understand why they say it is. In an effort to calm the situation, we sought to either publicly disclose the reasons for making the music video private, or if Selen Tatsuki disclosed them herself. While being mindful of Selen Tatsuki's physical and mental health, because she was in the hospital, management did their best to communicate with not only Selen Tatsuki herself, but also her emergency contact, again because she was in the hospital and probably not available for contacting directly. However, despite frequent communication with Selen Tatsuki's emergency contact while remaining considerate of her situation, we were unable to come to an agreement on how to proceed. The discussion was made to temporarily remove her access to accounts on various social media platforms and video distribution services under the name Selen Tatsuki. And this is the point why I start disagreeing with how Anycolor has handled the situation. Because before this, a lot of the mistakes that were happening were clearly on Selen's side, and though not as malicious as some of them were painted, there were clear mistakes. She should have known better, and she was warned on multiple occasions. But let's not forget that on December 28th, when she mentioned she was in an accident, she now is confirmed was an attempt. You know what kind of attempt? I cannot say it because of YouTube, but she tried. At the moment of recording this, it has been 6 weeks, which is not a lot of time since something that impactful happened, and nobody that went through that should already be thinking about anything related to work at all. So it's very much understandable that Anycolor couldn't get to an agreement with Selen, because she likely was not in the right mindset to even think about it. And then they're also talking about having contact with our emergency contact, which is likely one of her parents or a family member that very likely doesn't have much knowledge about VTubing, social media, etc., and don't understand the necessity of even addressing certain things towards social media. And they're most likely just more concerned with Selen, her well-being, than anything that's happening at her work, right? So while I'm not really knowledgeable about the ins and outs of the situation and corporate stuff, I feel like Anycolor should have just taken a moment to make some kind of statement themselves. Maybe to make a statement, that a formal statement about the situation is in progress and that they're working on it, but they're giving Selen time to heal or something. Blaming the lack of a statement because they couldn't get an agreement with Selen, who was in the hospital and has been recovering for the past month and a half, or not coming to agreement with their merchant contact, with who likely doesn't have an understanding about the situation at all. That is not on them. I feel like the company should have taken responsibility on that. Because for real, even even though Selen was in a lot of these points on the wrong side, given the circumstances, I truly think a lot of these things were not a big deal enough to push someone who just tried, you know. The notice continues. After attempting to address the aforementioned situation and communicating with the legal counsel representing Selen Tatsuki, we conveyed the necessity for Selen Tatsuki to inform the public about the reasons behind our decision to make the music video private. Additionally, we expressed to Selen Tatsuki our expectations for future compliance with activity rules from here on. Despite our efforts, Selen Tatsuki demanded that Anycolor should be held legally responsible. She claimed that she was no longer able to engage in her activities as a lifer due to decisions made by Anycolor, and was being harassed by other affiliate lifers due to mismanagement, etc., while refusing to acknowledge her responsibility for violating the activity rules. Moreover, Selen Tatsuki insisted that if the negotiations did not progress, she would proceed to release a statement regarding her claims to the public. So with the first paragraph, they made clear that they have been talking to legal counsels representing Selen, and that they absolutely needed her to post something regarding the music video. But she clearly was not able to do said post, so I feel like Anycolor should have offered to help her with that. Like, I feel there's a lot of things that could have been done here given the circumstances. But then there's an additional layer of the next paragraph where Selen thinks that Anycolor should be held legally responsible, probably in response to her attempting because of things that happened at work, because of the environment at work, the harassment from other lifers due to mismanagement. And while she is still wrong for not acknowledging the responsibility for violating the activity rules, that seems like a separate issue at this moment in time compared to what she is claiming is wrong on the Anycolor side. And then Selen also said that she would release a statement of her own if they couldn't negotiate any further, which understandable from her side and probably a good thing overall, but for the company it could be seen as a legal threat. So I cannot really comment on that, whether that was the best move or not. And then there's an ironic thing, considering that a lot of these points are how Selen was damaging the reputation and credibility of the company, is how they're throwing your own lives under the bus. Because they're basically confirming, or at least saying, without saying that is wrong, that there was internal harassment towards Selen by other affiliated lifers in the company. And with Selen on her Doki account saying that she was bullied and that it was a toxic environment, they're basically just confirming that there are bullies within Nijisanji and that there are people made unsafe and that the company is not doing anything about it, even though they're aware of it happening. And the wildest thing is they said it. Selen did not until they mentioned it publicly, which feels like a negative PR move. Anycolor believes that the claims raised by Selen Tatsuki are in fact referring to situations that arose when she was warned about her breaches by the activity rules and attempts to shift the responsibility for this violation, damaging Anycolor and Nijisanji Ian's image. This led to the deterioration of the relationships between her, Anycolor, and the other lives affiliated with Anycolor. Anycolor firmly believes that we and other lives under our affiliation have not engaged in unjust practices towards Selen Tatsuki, which really doesn't say anything. In all honesty, like, anyone can say like, oh, I don't believe I did anything wrong, while they can be bigoted, racist, bully. The fact that you don't see it doesn't mean it's not true. And there's also the thing that the JP version of this statement doesn't say harassment, but that the other lifers have been encouraging her to own up to what she did and to ask her to abide by the rules from here on out, which is a lot more kind-hearted. But in combination with her herself saying that she has been bullied, I'm leaning towards the English version for accuracy. And they're also saying that whatever behavior might have occurred is because she herself damaged that relationship, which just feels like victim blaming at this point. Like, if people are bullying, harassing co-workers, regardless of what that co-worker did, that's never okay. Considering the irreparable damage to a company's reputation and threat to ongoing activities of other affiliated lifers, we regrettably concluded the termination of our affiliate contract with Selen Tatsuki was unavoidable. And this is what irks me. They always come back to the fact that she has been damaging their reputation. That somehow a lot of the issues are her fault. And like, yeah, my view of Nijisanji did deteriorate over time if I saw her talk about how management did this, or her management didn't allow her to do one thing, or she couldn't host more international tournaments and stuff. But I was always in an open mind, like, oh, there was probably a good reason for that, so I'm not gonna judge it by the cover. But they're making it so big about how much damage she alone has done. Even though if we're gonna talk about lifers doing damage, there are so many more that could be classified in the same category. But let's not forget that the company is also not really great at upholding said reputation when things are going south. But I've always been like, companies are companies and they make mistakes and they do dumb things, and there's probably a good reason for it. Most likely agree, but it's probably a good reason for it and not intentional. But the way you're talking here, I feel like I was just very optimistic when I shouldn't have been. And that's not because of Selen, but that's because of how they're phrasing it and how they're treating the situation, how they're handling it. And then there's a paragraph I feel like should have been way at the start, where they say, since becoming a part of Nijisanji in July 2021, Selen Tatsuki has undeniably played a significant role in the growth of Nijisanji. We fully understand that our decision to terminate the contract will have a significant impact on Selen Tatsuki's fans and supporters of Nijisanji. However, ensuring responsible content creation through adherence to the activity rules is a fundamental to our mission. It is with deep regret that we must part ways with our affiliate live with Selen Tatsuki, as we could not reach an agreement on our point of view. However, we would like to ask for understanding for our fans as for the circumstances that led to this decision. Like, usually you start with the positive stuff and like, hey, I'm sorry this happened. Please look at it from our point of view. Usually put that at the start, right? But it's towards the end. It's towards the very end of the 3-page notice, which they've not done before on the EN side. I don't even think they did it on the JP side. As of today, the 5th of February 2024, Selen Tatsuki's activities will cease. Our YouTube memberships will be closed and our social media accounts will be made private. We will also gradually halt the sale of merchandise and voice-related content. Please note that merchandise produced in 2023 featuring Selen Tatsuki or included her in their lineup may be released in the future. Selen Tatsuki's revenue payment for these has either already been completed or is planned to be settled by the end of February. And this is another point that a lot of people were very irked about, is the fact that they privated everything from Selen right before they dropped an announcement. And I know that is the case because people started being like, they stealth removed everything and they're not even saying anything. But that seemed to be right before the announcement actually dropped. But they did keep up a lot of her merchandise. Like, they removed everything before we even knew that she was leaving, but they're still selling her merchandise. And the fact that they're saying that there might be future lineups with Selen included, but they're only saying that they're planning to settle it by the end of February. So how about merch that will be released after that? It feels weird that they're so hard stuck on removing everything immediately without notice, but keeping that up. The Nijisanji and VTuber group Obsidia will pursue their activities with Rosemi, Lovelock, and Petra Gurin. We sincerely thank all the fans who supported Selen Tatsuki and apologize for any inconvenience caused by the announcement. We humbly request your continued support for Obsidia and Nijisanji in the future. For all inquiries related to this matter, please contact Anycolor and refrain from contacting Anycolor's livers, including any contact on social media or on stream. Sincerely, Anycolor Incorporated. A negative view on Nijisanji has been brewing for a long time, and I feel like even though, yes, Selen and her complaining about management in certain tweets might have contributed to it, there's so many factors, and if I think as of why I sometimes think so negatively about Nijisanji, Selen barely crosses my mind. Like, before she went on a hiatus, I didn't even think of her as an active part of it. I thought that she was one of the few people that kept having faith in the company. Like, oh, if someone like Selen is still with them, that hasn't graduated yet, and is talking so positively at any moment that she can, aside from the few like, oh, I'm sorry, management wouldn't let me do this. If she was still with the company, how bad can it be? She was actually one of the few people that made me believe in the company not being as bad as they are. But considering everything that happened in the last month, considering the radio silence, considering that usually when people start speculating about things and they end up like, oh, maybe she's just dead, maybe she hurt herself, that they're usually far out of league and very wrong, and it is not as blown up as they thought it was. But the fact that the speculations went all the way down to bedrock and were right that she could have been dead, and that they're still being like, well, she should have made a statement, we wanted her to make a statement. Bro, just be happy that she is alive and have a little humanity at all. right? Because a lot of people have been saying, like, companies are not your friends. No, but you don't need to be someone's friend to be a bit more understanding about certain things, especially if that person has been going through something really bad or decided to do something really bad and impactful and is naming you or your company as part of the reason why. Even if a company is so self-absorbed and thinking about reputation, you'd think, right, that they think this through a bit more. Because how this entire thing looks to me right now is that this company is such a toxic waste pool that it would drive someone like Selen, that is so positive and motivational and was always like the positive beacon of the company, to such a breaking point that they try to take, you know what, that they're so unhappy that they wouldn't just quit, they would quit everything. And then while she is recovering from that, the company is still pushing her for a statement on something as a music video, while they could have just gone ahead and made that statement themselves, or said a statement is coming but we're waiting on Selen's recovery. And that they're essentially blaming the lack of agreement on her and her emergency contact, while she was most likely not in the right mind to even think about that stuff. And her emergency contact probably doesn't know enough about the industry to even make an informed decision. Like, it wouldn't be the first time that a company like this would just take matters in their own hands and tweet for talents. Or that they would assemble a tweet and say, hey Selen, is this okay to tweet? Do we have your consent to make this the statement? Which would require a lot less thinking power on her end. Or like they have done before with Volker Oven, who went on a health-related hiatus, just make a tweet on the main account. From a perspective of someone who found Nijisanji through Luxium and Noctix and then Illuna and had only positive experiences, eventually I did start doubting the company, but I started doubting VTuber companies and companies in general. That might just be my anti-capitalist mindset, to just wonder, what can a company do for me? There's a reason why I'm a freelancer. There were specific things against Nijisanji, but nothing concrete. But the way they handled this situation, I just feel weird. Because how crazy it sounds, this does align with certain parts where Zaion talked about. The only other person that got terminated, by the way, but what she addressed in her own statement, which was very long, was Google document of a lot of pages, was the company's complete disregard for her mental health. Like, regardless of everything she did wrong, it seemed that she was still a complete wreck under the management of Anycolor. And those things can exist at the same time. You can be breaking your contract and you can be a piece of shit, but the company can also be mistreating you completely up to the point that you are so broken and depressed that you'd want to hurt yourself. And at the time, a lot of people did not believe Zaion, or the person behind Zaion, when they made that statement, that she was talking out of her arse, that she was just making it up to get sympathy points. But the fact that Selen is basically saying the same things is putting some credibility behind it, right? And while we don't know the reasons, the full reasons behind graduations that are a lot more positively aligned, a lot of them wanted to move away from this company, whether it was for creative reasons or our interests did not line up anymore, whatever that might mean. We don't know what they saw and decided, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. It can be completely like, hey, I outgrew this company, I want to do something else that the company couldn't let me do. But what do we believe? Because I always wanted to believe the company first, because they're a company and like, I feel like that's more credible. But the more things happen, the more people leave companies like this completely broken. And the way the company handles it, it just depresses me. And then there's also the thing where Nijisanji has basically confirmed there was internal harassment and bullying without really saying that it was true or not. Like, they did say, oh, we don't believe anything wrong happened, right? But they didn't really go into details. So now a lot of people are wondering, who are the bullies? Who are the people that made Selen and God knows who else feel so bad? And it's extra distressing because I literally cannot think of anyone who would do something like that. Which just means that it can be any of them. Which just makes me feel insecure. Should I continue supporting Nijisanji again? Is it one of my Oshis? One of the people I admire that is being a bully behind the scenes? Because I don't want to support that. But they're not really giving information on that either. And if they are aware of that happening, why is Selen being treated this way but we're not seeing any other punishments? or other people being terminated. I don't know. I can go into circles regarding all of my thoughts on that, and I can probably go on stream and talk 2 hours about my feelings. But I just feel wrong about it, especially as I have been at a point where I thought about doing what Selen tried. I don't know. Like, I have not even tried, but if anyone would have pushed me to do something, or pushed me to get an opinion or make a decision or make an agreement about something this big or important, or at least waited while I was at my lowest, and like I didn't even try, right? I can't even imagine if you already tried and you're like coping with the fact that you failed and how you feel about that. A lot of people would try again. And then there's the messed up part of me of that the rate of stuff like this happening, especially in context of work in Japan, is a lot higher than the rest of the world. Is it so normal that they just are less sensitive to it? I don't even want to think like that. That just feels wrong. And I don't even want to speculate on it, but so far, every time people start speculating and thinking about the worst, turned out to be true. So I have no idea how to feel about it. And I have also no idea how to end this video, because there's just... I don't want to make a video as negative as this, but I do want to talk about it. It almost seems cynical to say, like, yeah, both parties were wrong. Technically they were, but I feel like there's just so much layers to it. And yeah, maybe they should have just terminated Selen right then and there, because they apparently gave her enough warnings. And they would say that if she did it again, that she would be terminated. And then she did it several times and they still didn't terminate her. And the only reason they're terminating her now is because she was being difficult and not making agreements. It's like even their threats of like, oh, you'll be terminated if you keep going with this behavior. And they still didn't until much later. Because she wasn't even suspended after the whole music video thing. That was until after she already had the accident. And at that point, she was refusing to make a statement regarding it. And then she was suspended from her account access and stuff. That was after. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm just going in loops right now. And I should probably take a break from this topic. But yeah. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And I hope everyone is okay, because losing an entertainment person that you love a lot and is probably a comfort person is hard, because I know a lot of us struggle with mental health. But the nature of it, like, if you're struggling with this, or you've been bullied in the past and you know how that feels, and this feels like school over again, where my teachers just told me everything I did wrong, but didn't see that I was being bullied, you know? That just feels the same, and it just feels wrong. And this isn't even school, this is a company profiting off her efforts and everything. So I don't know what to say. So I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, which I hope is gonna be something fun. Which I did say last time, but yeah. Bye.